For years, I remember you would tell me about your experiences around MLK and the things that were going on with the the celebration, particularly on Martin Luther King Street. And I was not interested. I didn't participate in the celebration. I do the parade sometimes and go home, and whatever happened, happened, and we prayed for the best. But you were always a voice. You were always one who consistently said, we need to look at Martin Luther King and our celebration in the city differently. You talked about the economic impact that it has on our community with all of the visitors and people that come in. You talked about how you and others would sell and distribute the DVDs that you produced in the movies, and how it was always a hallmark of economic development for our community. And you would also lift up the challenges about the way that it was being handled by the police. And again, I was not interested. And then in 2018, it all came to a head when I had a personal experience with the lockdowns of that year. And then I got involved. It's interesting how being directly impacted by an issue can change your perspective on it. But when we were confronted with how we move forward, it was you, Mr. Edmond, who led the charge and came up with recommendations and solutions. And some of those recommendations, a couple of them included the creation of an African American quality of life study, and the creation of a Sunshine Committee to oversee any recommendations or implementation that came out of that. While we didn't get the African American Quality of Life study or the creation of the Sunshine Committee, those recommendations would eventually lead to the structural racism study and a ballot initiative that put equity on the ballot in our city. Those initiatives were unsuccessful. However, last week, the mayor just announced the creation of the role of a chief equity officer. And that role will have oversight and direction of the city's effort to advance racial equity and inclusion. And I can say with a high degree of certainty, Mr. Edmond, that, and I'll actually be willing to debate this with anybody, that probably wouldn't have happened were it not for the work that you've done and did in our community.